Hey friends, happy Thursday, the 27th of January. I'm Father Bill Hill, one of the priests at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. It's nice to be with you for a moment. I'll give you a daily reflection on the readings. They're linked on the sidebar. Read them prayerfully and then turn off your screen. Spend some time with God before you move on to other things. Thursday, my favorite day of the week. It's my day off, although I actually am taking tomorrow off as well. Gonna maybe go ice fishing with a friend if the weather cooperates. Don't tell the office staff. No, that's a joke. They totally know I'm going to be gone tomorrow as well. Hey, one announcement. If you haven't yet done a time and talent stewardship form, they're linked in the sidebar. Would love it if you would make a commitment to God and to Holy Spirit Catholic Community in the ways that you're going to steward your time and your talents over the course of these next months. All right. We're kind of picking back up in the first reading, the David cycle. We've missed a couple because of the Feast of the Conversion of Paul and then the memorial of Timothy and Titus. What did we miss? Nathan the prophet promises to David that the house of David will not fall. And remember, David's predecessor, Saul, had been a bad king, and Saul and his son Jonathan, David's dear friend, were killed in battle. And so certainly David is mindful that his house could be extinguished at any time. And so to hear from the prophet that God was going to establish his house forever, I mean, just to imagine, just the way that that would be mind-boggling and mind-blowing. And, this is a passage of praise as David gives praise to God and praise that God would confirm this prophecy and make it true. It's so cliche to talk about, count your blessings, right? Count your blessings. We live in a culture, and we'll talk about it in the gospel as well, but we live in a culture that makes sure that it tells us what we don't have. We don't have a sweet car and a beautiful body and a huge bank account and luxurious vacations and all of these other things. We're told this so that way we can work really hard and then make sure that we pay those things so that we can have them. To just root ourselves in the blessings of God, not on what we're lacking, but on what we already have. The ways that God is caring for us right here and right now. Monday, I kind of talked about the sacrament of the present moment. It's the same sort of thing. Right here, right now, we have what we need from God. And that doesn't mean that we don't have intercessions, petitions, prayers on our hearts that we raise to the Lord. But all the same, right now, just to root ourselves in how good God is. Okay, the gospel, we hear in Mark's gospel about the light that's not put under a basket or under a bed, but instead put on top of a lampstand. Just ask that question. I mean, really, we don't know the meaning of our own life. If you watched, It's a Wonderful Life over the holiday season, that's a bit of the message of that, right? Like, we don't get to necessarily see the ways that we affect others and the ways that our lives changes other people's lives. But to maybe just ask the Lord that we might see for a moment how our light shines. Maybe the Lord wants to raise with us that there are ways that we're hiding our light, putting it under a bushel basket or under a bed, and we're not allowing the light of God to shine for the world. And then the second part of this is the measure with which you measure out will be measured back to you. And that could be kindness and generosity and understanding and forgiveness. That could be, judgment and anger and a lack of compassion and hardness of heart and unforgiveness, all sorts of things. The ways that we measure out to the world will be measured back to us. The words of the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. A little bit of this sort of thing. That's the idea of rooting ourselves in the worldview of abundance, that God has absolutely provided everything that we need. That right here, right now, we have everything that we need to know the blessings of God. And it's not about out-competing or outdoing others, but instead it's about rooting ourselves in the incredible generosity of God. All right, those are a few of my reflections on the readings. You read them prayerfully now and then turn off the screen. See what stirs inside of you after reading these readings. Have that conversation with God. Okay. Be praying for those that are having a hard time. God bless you, friends.